We do have a quorum, and to start, I would like for us to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. And I move that we approve the agenda for tonight. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, tonight I am probably going to talk more in the beginning than I ever will again. I don't particularly care for words. I think there are way too many of them used, but be that as it may, that's a particular thing in my part. First of all, I want to apologize to the board and to the members of the audience for a slow start that I had. I had a death in the family, and I left early in October and didn't get back until a few days ago. So I did not hit the ground running as well as I would have liked to, and for that I do apologize. I do not apologize for being with family in Minnesota during that time, but I apologize for not being fully prepared for the meeting and getting information out to everyone. We will start the meeting at 7 and we will end the meeting at 9 o'clock. In my past lives, timing was important, and I'm a stickler for starting on time and ending on time. We will conduct business first, followed by open forum, where individuals will have 2 minutes to voice an issue. Issues will be considered and dealt with following review and consideration, and not during the board meeting. We need time to evaluate, look at it, and decide what we can do with what we can do with the situation. There are multiple methods available for getting issues to the board. You may not like the time it takes to get those issues resolved, and we apologize up front for that, but we are currently in a transition phase, and this will last for a while. I don't know how long it will last, but it will be a while before we have everything running as smoothly as I would like to see it to run. Voting will be a show of hands, just like we just had with the approval of the agenda. And I will always give the opposite sign for an indication. Votes, any vote that comes to a tie vote, I will be the tiebreaker. If we have an even number of board members at that particular meeting, a tie vote fails. This is following some of the rules of the meeting formats that we will use. And finally, we will be reviewing the covenants and the bylaws to make sure that the two documents agree with each other. It is important that they do agree, and until that time, the covenants are the guiding documents for our community. We will follow the covenants over and above anything else. If we find issues between the two documents, we will resolve those either via a vote of the POA members or through some legal apparatus. Probably it will be through vote of the membership. I've already got a dry mouth. I've got some. I would request and want to anybody who wants to say something, do that in a non-vulgar, agreeable manner. I will not tolerate vulgar discussions, and if necessary, I will close the meeting if it gets out of hand. I've only had to do that once in my past experience. People were not very happy, but it got to the point that we could not conduct business with the things that were going on. So please keep that in mind. Now, as far as unfinished business goes, there's a lot. And right now, I can't tell you how it will be resolved. We're still waiting on things. We're still trying to get the two companies that are engaged in various things to finalize the arrangements. Once we have that, then I'll have more information for you. As far as new business, the new business is trying to get everything organized and stabilized. So this is likely to be a fairly short meeting because we're still trying to get an idea of what's going on. Now I'm going to give Cal the treasurer's report, and don't hold your breath because it's not going to be real exciting. Cal.
I just wanted to report that John was the treasurer. He helped me out a little bit. We got our evidently yearly on 10/15. You have to get your tax stuff in. We got that done, signed, mailed, postmarked on 10/15, so that's in. We've got CPM that's took over on 1 October. They're supposed to be kind of paying everything. There's a transition between the city and village and CPM. I'm into the bank account. I can see what's happening. I have not paid anything at all yet. So when we get invoices, we gotta come up with the process to get them to CPM so that they can get paid. So that's one of the things so I have not paid any bills at all. We take in a little bit of money. We had a couple checks. I deposited those in our accounts. So all the essential stuff has been happening, for the last few weeks. But I think a lot more will happen maybe by the next meeting in November. Okay.
That's what we're hoping. We're hoping to have all this resolved by the next meeting. If we don't, there's a serious issue and we'll have to address that issue. Roads Committee.
Okay, so Scott's been doing a lot on roads as well, and we have a list of approximately 12 places that are going to be cut out and reworked as long as the funding is there. They're double checking on everything on that, and as long as the bids all come in reasonable. We posted that list. It's the lower list hanging on the corner of the wall, and as you walk out you can look at it. I do want to make a motion at this time also for the patchwork that's been done to get that bill paid. If I have a
Second motion.
Is there any discussion?
Is that the stuff that we approved the very first night that we met as a board, the last board meeting?
Yeah,
Or is
for the
this-
emergency patch repairs.
And that was, that night we approved some $2,500, I think,
Yeah.
for, is that what you're asking about, or is it more?
Yes.
is
That's
there-
it. Yeah.
So it's that same amount, same patchwork, same everything?
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, that's all I have for roads at this time.
Security.
Well, we've had some gates go down, we fixed them. We've looked into a thing called Flock, but we're not going to go any further on it. It's a license plate reader that hooks to Jefferson County, And if a car comes in that's stolen, it would send it directly to the county. We just started to discuss it this evening, so that's one of the things we're wanting to do for security. But I would be happy to have volunteers with the gates, because with our new maintenance thing, they're gonna charge us if we have to come have somebody fix the gates. I've done it quite a few times and I've had a few people help me. And we're looking for that on maintenance. And then another thing on maintenance, we got Halloween coming up. We got a bunch of signs to put up. If anybody wants to volunteer, I mean, I'll do it if nobody does, but we've got a bunch of stuff. And trees in the road with our new maintenance company, it's gonna be a couple $100 to call them out, and we haven't really got a bill yet. And we're trying to, see where our first bill is gonna get us, don't know where we're at. So that's all I have for now. We're just getting going.
Lakes and beaches, happy?
Okay, we had a meeting, and at the beach, had a few people come out, and we're gonna try to go forward with putting some more grass carp in the lake, and doing some beach projects. We need to get a wash station that we promised the people. We like to be able to afford a restroom down there, a flush restroom, but we're gonna have to get some bids to go forward on that. We've taken it to the county accepted it, and now we gotta see what it's gonna cost and if we can afford it. And other than that, one more thing, the blue-green algae, we've been doing a little research on that. A lot of the lakes in Missouri have it, and it's not uncommon, and it's about an 18-day bloom when it happens. So it's not gonna keep you from swimming in the lake or kill you. That's it for now.
AACC.
So I was unable to attend the last meeting, which would have been my first meeting. I was previously not on this committee. I had a family situation I had to attend. But I have the minutes. There were multiple approvals of projects, and there was a recommendation set for the board to review for chicken coops. You can look at, there's some recommendations that, and I'll read them so that they're on the record, but maximum of 6 chickens, the coop no longer is 24 square feet, only 1 coop per household, and only on one lot, only on a lot with a home. The coop must be enclosed in such a manner to avoid escape of the animals. The coop must be located behind the residence in contact with the home and must not extend beyond the sides of the home. The coop must be approved by ACC. Absolutely no roosters, no coops in the side yards, adjacent lots or improved lots, and no loose or free-range chickens. I will be rejecting and ask for a motion to that now, or do you want to wait till the end of the report?
You can go ahead and ask for it now.
Okay. I'd ask for a motion to approve those guidelines. We can always add to them at a later date if we need to.
I have one question.
Well, it needs to be seconded first, and I'll second. Now it's open for discussion.
Open for discussion. Tractor Supply has some real nice coops with wheels, and they're like $500, and everybody rolls around your yard, and very professional looking. Maybe would our ACC consider something like that over being stick built? Because it's got everything. It's really sharp looking.
I don't know that it says it has to be stick built. It just says.
Well, I know it will be though, but this here, ours would be stick built if somebody builds it, but this is prefab. And they're about $500 from Tractor
So
Supply.
does
They
it
really
meet-
look
would
good.
it meet these parameters?
Yes.
If they keep it, if it's under 24 square feet,
Yeah,
it's only one on a lot.
It's in all
and
that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that says here that
It can't be
it can or
prefab.
cannot be
Okay.
prefab or wheels.
They look like little barns.
They have to
You
keep
can't
it
get-
behind their home. They can't
Right.
take it outside of this.
But they can roll it around their
Side.
yard.
Yeah, that's really the only difference.
They can't take,
They would move it.
but they can't, but right here, what we're approving is they can't take it past the sides of their home.
Well, they would just have
They can
to
move it
move it.
around in their backyard, but they can't take it out to the sides or the front. I don't think we want.
Yeah, not the front.
No.
Or the sides, that's what this says. These are some of the recommendations came up from other counties across the country that have the same thing, so we follow them.
I'm good.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay. I need also, this is not a motion, but I just need confirmation. I want to be sure that I'm not misleading a lot owner, but if a lot is owned by 2 separate individuals that are not related, not married, they're just 2 people that own a lot together, I believe they can both own a boat that is titled in their name, as long as they don't exceed 2 boats per lot. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't, but before I told them to move forward, I wanted to make sure that the board, what's that?
I believe that it is correct, but I will have to check the covenants on that
It's who's on the deed, I believe.
to make
What?
They're
sure.
both on.
Well, so there'll be two different people on the deed, they each own
yeah.
a boat, and
Understand.
it's titled in their name, it's insured in their name. I didn't see anything that restricted that, but before I tell them to move forward, I'd like to have the board say yes.
So you're asking, Ken, that they would each be able to get a sticker for the boats?
Yeah, well, they'd be,
They have two
yes,
boats.
they would each have their own boat
Right.
with their own insurance, their own title, their own,
Correct.
but there's two different people. We can't have more than 2 boats per lot currently, and they wouldn't be,
They still technically would only, the way I understand it, they'd still only, because they both own the one same lot, right?
correct.
They would only have one vote.
No, not those.
Oh,
So-
cargo. Okay.
So
No, heck, yeah, I think it's,
I do remember reading this at one time, or something come up, and I'll double check on it. Either they both have to be on both boats, or maybe they can each be on separate. But there is something that clarifies that, and we'll just have to
I think
find it.
there's people that maybe married couples or something, their boats and their cars aren't in the same name, so I don't think that would be true.
Okay, we'll double check. And again, I don't know which way it is, I just remember reading.
Can you let me know before the next meeting?
Yes, we will let you know within the next week.
Okay. We've had several recent inspections. I know we were waiting on inspections. Several of them were signed off. I will tell you that I spent some time with CPM and learning about their program. They have a very nice online program. They do call me this weekend and said this, and I don't have any way of knowing the old paper way, but with the CPM, it'll all be, and whoever we decide to let look at it, have access to it, could be the homeowner, could be all the board members, could be the ACC committee, but anybody sees that stuff. It's live 24/7. It's very customizable, so we're gonna have to decide what parameters we want on it. But it's moving light years ahead of the way we used to do it. It'll be great. Everything's available at any time. We had our first submission. It went really well. The homeowner actually called me and said, hey, that was super easy, and so they're pleased with it. And then the other thing I would tell you is I've been trying to learn about ACC, and I've gone through the manual. I think there are some, I don't want to call them discrepancies, maybe inconsistencies, and so I think the manual needs to be reviewed, much like the covenants and bylaws, as well as like what Desiree did with the rules committee.
Yes. I think that there's ample areas that we can.
Well, I don't think they're
It's not major.
purposefully, it's just that,
No.
oh, this sounded like a good idea at one time, this sounds like a good idea, but we've set precedences since then, and it doesn't make sense to keep those things in our law and rules. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Do we have anything in communications? Well, that, for now, is our committee reports. We still have some work to do in getting the other committees up and running. John, did you have anything?
Everybody should have either received via your email or in US mail your account registration with CPM. So if you haven't done that, we encourage you to please register your account with CPM. And if you did not get either one of them, you call CPM and their service team will give you the info you need to establish your account. That's it.
And those accounts will be very important to you.
Oh, I did have one last thing. Gal mentioned the tax return for 2023 was filed. It's not late, it's just 10 months after the year closes. But with that is the CPA review of the books, so we will get that report circulated and out on the website as well.
And we will need to review our insurance coverage. Since we no longer have employees, we don't need to have any of the insurance that's related to them. So that will be something that we have to get discontinued. Any other business activities that the board needs to discuss? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Make the motion first.
What about
Make the
open
motion to
forum?
adjourn.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Please adjourn. Open forum. Jerry.
Actually, I have a couple of things. You mentioned you're going to go over the covenants and the restrictions. But also, we have found, as I was on the rules committee, and we had found that there was discrepancies between the rules, and so that's another thing that you're going to have to go look at also.
I'm aware of that.
And we don't have a rules,
Not yet.
okay. Isn't it true that we're supposed to have 24 hours notice before meetings?
Is it what?
24-hour notice before meetings, any meetings?
Yes.
Okay, because there was a meeting down at the lakes, and a lot of people didn't know about it. That should be advertised, there's going to be a meeting.
We'll
And
get
also-
better.
It was.
Oh,
It was posted.
It was on
She
Facebook.
posted.
I posted them at the bulletin boards at each gate.
Okay,
There
I
was
didn't see it online.
Plenty of time.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it online. That's where I see it at.
It was online.
I didn't see it online.
Thank you.
And also, on the voicemail, what is the, why does it say if you want to talk to, if you want the country club? In regards to the country club? Do you know?
That-
Because we get calls all the time.
The voicemail needs to be changed, and that's one of the things that I have on my list to do. It's entirely too long at this point.
Okay, and why do we not, normally before meeting, we are able to get the agenda and all of that. That's part of the sunshine, if I believe.
That was my fault. 2 minutes are up.
I didn't hear what you said.
He said your 2
Minutes are up.
Just transition.
Oh, so I don't get to answer?
He said that was his fault because he was out of town.
Yes.
Are you going to address the empty board seat?
Hi there.
I didn't hear that.
We did have a resignation. Sorry, I get a little bit, like to have a little bit of fun. That we're requesting resumes, and the resumes will be reviewed, and we will elect a new board member in the November board meeting.
What's the due date? I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
The due date is November 9th.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. That's when we will finish getting the resumes in. We will vote on it at the next board meeting. Yes, sir.
As far as road repairs, you guys just still doing asphalt, or is there a rumor about the chip and seal, or you're not that far yet? or-
We're not that far yet. I can tell you that there's a lot of discussion that still needs to be done before we make that kind of decision.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
John Irvin. So I watched the video from the lakes and beaches, and there seems to be a lot of volunteerism going on, both products and time. Can we find out who some of them people are maybe? I mean, I know it's premature, and it's all in the planning stages and everything, but it sounds like it's gone quite a far way along, that we're talking about that we can do all this digging, and we can do all the supply, all the product, all the, the hardware. So can we find out who some of these people are that are doing this volunteerism? Because if they're internal, maybe we'll want to, use them as residents. So can we talk on that a little bit?
We haven't discussed it much further than that meeting.
Once we get, one of the first things that we need to do is to find out how much it's going to cost, whether we can fit it into a budget, how much we're going to be spending on other things. So right now, it's just in the planning stages, and I'm not sure that we're ready to do that, but when we are, we will let the people know.
So it's a little bit premature before a treasurer's report is even brought out
Yes.
to the public. Okay, thanks.
Somebody in the back.
Hey Jim, congratulations for the election and president. I would like to correct you on one statement, that there should never be a tie, that if there is an even number of board members, you do not vote, so there would never be a tie. If you are absent, then the vice president would take care of. So a tie does not mean it loses, it just can never be a tie. It's either a 5-4 with your vote or a 4-3 without your vote.
Well, if there are 6 people here, it can be a tie, and that has
No.
happened in the past.
If you're not here, so what 3 people would be missing? 3 officers?
There could be 3 individuals missing. It is very unlikely that that would ever happen.
Let's just say it does. You would not vote in that instance, which would be a 3-2. I know that specifically because I had to reach out to the attorney when there were only 4 of us on the board.
As long as all of the executive board was here, that would be true.
Right. If there aren't, then you can't have a meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Linda Camden. We've gotten accustomed to having emails sent to us to give us information, and I know CPM offers that service now. And I know you all need to work it all out. That's in the plans, correct?
Yes.
Well, great.
That is.
Thank you. Another comment, Kent, you had said that CPM also can do some ACC stuff, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's already in our agreement with them, right? It's in our...
That's one of the services provided already.
Thank you. Another question. In the past, we have been able to raise our hand for a clarifying question. If you all come up with something and we're like, okay, can you explain that better during your business meeting? Is that allowable now?
Rare occasions.
Okay. Sometimes what has happened is people keep talking and it's like, wait a minute, there's more information. You know, it's like we have information to share. And it's been helpful in the past to be able to include that information.
Okay.
Yep.
And your time was not up, my timer was just still going. Lady behind you.
Hi, I'm Sharon Wingert, and I have a handout. I actually provided this to a past board, and I just thought it'd be useful possibly for a new board. Thank you all for volunteering. This is just a handout from what's called the Community Associations Institute. And I got your names on top of the page. It's about rights and responsibilities of both community members and community leaders. And Community Associations Institute is like a professional association across communities, HOAs, POAs across the country. And I believe CPM had mentioned that they were members of CAI. So I would just love to have you guys take a look at that and hopefully adopt it both for community leaders and communicate it to our community members that we try to follow these rights and responsibilities, because it seems it would be a great way to help us move forward. I'm excited about the new blood, and we've had a lot of division in the past in our community, and I'm just thinking that this would be a great way to help us all get on the same page and move forward. So that's just a resource.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Can I ask another question, Mom? So next thing, I've heard you say, Jim, that, and my condolences on your loss. I've heard you say, and I know Dave's my neighbor, I know you guys are doing a lot of work to transition and to try to get your heads around everything going on, which is substantial. So could you just help us understand a little more about your transition strategy, how you're gathering information, how you're learning from the past board members, just to help us understand the transition process? Thanks.
I can try.
Thanks.
John has been very helpful. We have been interacting with CPM and learning the mechanisms that will be put in place with them. To be honest, we don't really understand everything how it's going to work yet, but we're moving forward and trying to incorporate those changes. It has been quite drastic change from what we used to do, and pretty much controlling everything to having somebody else do a lot of the controlling. So with a month into it, we're still struggling a bit. We do hope to bring people from the community and get them involved in all the different committees. I would also like to try to develop a planning committee, getting people to come in. We have a multitude of different kind of isolated groups within Raintree. You know, we have the golfers, we have the fishermen, we have the beach people, we have the golf cart people, and there's probably a dozen that I don't even know about because I don't do any of those things. But I would like to get representatives from all the different groups so we can start coming together and building a better sense of community. We also need to try to involve the lot owners more in our day-to-day functioning. The lot owners are a very important part of this community, even if they only come in, you know, on the weekend and in the summer, and then the rest of the time they're off doing whatever. They still are an important part. So trying to build some continuity and community feelings within the community. We have been divided for many years now, and I would like to see us get back on a track of feeling like we are a community, that we look out for each other, that we treat everybody as neighbors and can do that in a way that will encourage the community to grow. And that's about as much of a plan as I have right now.
When you say we used to control it, now somebody else controls it, what do you mean by control? I'm not sure I understand
Well,
that word.
the office staff, the maintenance, we don't dictate all of that at this point. We're still responsible for it.
Okay. I don't know what you mean by control, because
Well,
they do what we tell them to do.
We don't have employees.
Right.
But trying to keep everything as positive as we can. You can't snap your fingers and force them all to be working smoothly together. That's all.
No, I'm not, I'm just wondering what you meant by control. I just want some clarification.
That was probably not a good term.
Okay. Because nobody should be doing something that we don't direct them to do.
One in front, then the one behind. Yes.
In the past, we had a Raintree Volunteer Network that was established and was going for a while, because I'm hearing volunteerism, so that would be another committee that could be resurrected, I guess I'll call it.
Yes. That would be a good one. Now, the other lady.
Yeah, I love what I'm hearing you say about community. I think we all want that, bring us together. One thing that seemed to be helping in the past was the town hall meetings that we do to hear from the community, find out where their priorities and interests are. What are your thoughts, and again, I realize you may not be there yet, but what are your thoughts about continuing to have town halls or using methods to solicit input from the community?
I think communication is a great thing as long as I don't have to do all of it. Getting people involved and getting different opinions and ideas and plans put together, I think is good. The thing that we have to remember is even though you have a good plan, it doesn't always mean that that's what's going to be executed. And we have to ensure that we don't get too put out if our plan doesn't get approved and move forward. So I would say that we would like to continue anything that has worked well in the past and improve upon it. I'm not concerned about trying to break it and start over. I want to use the good parts, the parts that are working well, and improve those parts and try to come up with other things for the ones that aren't working so well. And right now, I couldn't tell you the difference between the two. So
I ask a lot of questions.
Apparently you do.
I do.
Go ahead.
So just to follow up on that, now I remember reading in your resume that you turned in on the board that you particularly have experience with like root cause analysis, and I think somebody else also talked about like systems thinking and things like that. So I'm just curious, to your point, so much to try to get your head around and to gather information on. What are your thoughts about how you'll be able to do some root cause analysis and figure out what are the root causes of the problems in the community?
Well, I have done a lot of root cause analysis. I use FMEA, 5 Whys, Ishikawa methodologies. Some of those work well in certain situations, not so much with people problems, but they do have the structure that will help you determine maybe not the exact root cause, but things that are initiating the issues that are feeding off each other. And I will try to use those techniques and modify them into this particular situation.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. I see we have two front rows.
Yeah, I want others to have an opportunity though, so if there's somebody else with their hand up, which I think Tom is.
Yes, sir.
Tom Hicks, Morning Glory Director. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Just out of curiosity, I'm just wondering why, is there no way?
Because the water's down on that thing and seawalls are getting undermined.
Okay. It wasn't down, but somebody's seawall is.
Yeah, it was under straight across from us.
Okay.
Or it's going underneath. It's
Oh,
right
okay.
at the line.
Another thing, country club. Scott, you caught me down at the beach one day in July, and you talked for about 5 minutes about how you're going to go after the club. Is that still on your agenda?
Is it, what is it?
You're going to go after the club again?
No, we never said that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No.
Are you going to?
No.
Okay, good. That's on the record.
I have a question, Michelle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Joe Magmont. I was listening to Cal and the Treasury report. Do we not have a budget to pay our existing bills? Because he says he hasn't paid anything. And how do you keep the lights on if we don't start paying bills?
We personally will not pay the bills. CPM will be paying the bills. They will get the invoices, they will put the invoices out for our approval, and they will be paid. Bills will be paid.
Okay,
It's
we
just
don't
not,
have a-
we are not paying them at this point.
So we don't have a budget right now. We do.
We do have a budget. We are still getting all the funds together from city and village and putting that into CPM.
Okay, but we don't have a financial report for this meeting?
We do not, because CPM will be doing the financial reports and they have not finished the one for September.
So how are we paying for the things that's been improved upon?
I'm sorry, what?
How do we improve, how are we paying for the road repair and the other things that have been done at this point?
Those invoices go into CPM and then they send the invoices to the board for 2 board members to approve, and then they pay the invoice.
Jim, we're just we're transitioning them from the way they're currently paid to CPM.
I understand that.
So they're currently being paid, if one came in the old way, until it's transitioned to CPM.
But
And that piece
as
of
a
it.
treasurer, you should know how much money is available. And
You
you should be able to
I'm
know
sure the
what we can
vendors-
afford-
Yep.
what we can afford to improve on and make sure those vendors get paid. Because we don't want to develop a reputation of not paying our vendors on time.
Right.
Yeah, all the bills are being paid, there's nothing there. I think his comment was more that he hasn't been presented a bill that he has to approve and get paid yet.
But we don't know if this management company has received the bills and is.
We do know they're receiving it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Jim, In the future, are we going to be able to, like, walk in and be able to see the bills that they, like we, profit and losses and, I know that's a learning curve right now, but 3 months from now?
Short answer is yes. The short answer is yes, you'll be
Okay.
able to see them. I don't know what the format is at this point.
Okay, but I mean, we'll be able to see bills paid and,
Yes.
and every accounts receivable and,
Yes.
and profits and losses and all that in the
Like,
future.
like we have in the past.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
This is probably for Dave. After the initial potholes there were some places marked, then they got filled, and now I've noticed there are a few more markings. Are those places kind of still yet to be filled?
So there's a list up there on the wall of what we're getting bids on.
Does color make a difference?
Yeah, so Scott could also did a lot of work on this.
Green means it's getting bid. If you see green, a green marker means it's getting bid.
It's getting bid,
It's
okay.
getting bid.
Okay,
There's 22 bids total for tear outs. And
Okay.
we're gonna see where we're at.
okay,
If you see green paint, that means it's getting bid.
okay.
And then there was a gentleman, or maybe it was a lady, sorry.
My name's Lisa Broxman. I listened to the recording of the lakes and beach, or I guess it was the lakes and beach.
Can you use a bit more diaphragm?
Sure. My name's Lisa Broxman, and I listened to the recording at the lakes and beaches, and I appreciate whoever did that. I wasn't able to attend, but I believe I heard that there's nothing, no treatment that's planned on.
We're looking and talking with the state. We're gonna go with grass carp and plants. Because the part of the problem is when we kill the plants, all the oxygen goes and it stuns the fish. When you use the copper sulfate, slows the fish growth down and makes them not hungry. It's like a person with cancer getting radiation to the fish. So we're gonna do a little research this year.
So like the end of the coves that are kind of really weedy, and my cove, where we had our boat house, we dug a lot of that stuff out.
Yeah.
But it's starting to creep back in.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There's some methods you can do for yourself too, but no, probably for the whole lake, I imagine we're gonna go back to grass carp and plants and try to get the oxygen level back up in the lake.
So is there any way we could get the treatment that they possibly did?
Yes, you can. They sell it at some hardware stores and the feed stores. Called
Could
copper.
we get that?
Yes, you can buy it yourself and put it behind your house.
Could we get the brand and what?
Well, you have to check. I don't know what they have, but if you go to the feed store or go to Ace Hardware in DeSoto, they sell it. It's called copper sulfate, and it's made for your lakes and ponds and pools. And you can put it right behind your house, and it'll take care of the grass behind your house.
Okay.
And it's very expensive.
I see a hand in the back.
Donna Scanlon, my question would be then following up her question, why can we not continue with the company that has been spraying?
We're going to research it because it kills all the plants and the fish are stunted. You can talk to Brian. Our fish are stunted. We need to get some vegetation, get oxygen. When you get vegetation growing, the right type, you get oxygen off of it. And our lake's lacking oxygen. We need to get
And then we
oxygen.
have a lot of plants growing. We don't want so many plants as we want a pristine lake. There's been a lot of research done, so my suggestion
So we'll have to do
is
some
to
more
use
research.
all the research that's been done. And even for the company that sprayed last year, all of us noticed a huge, very nice difference in the clarity of the lake, and the trees growing up in front of my house stopped growing up. I just ask that you do that instead of
Okay.
making up your mind that this is
No,
not
we'll look at
going to
it.
be sprayed.
We'll research
Let's
everything.
actually study
Yes.
to make sure we should.
Okay.
Next. Gentleman here.
So with that being said about that, my name's Brian Fink. I was on Lakes and Beaches Committee. Are we going to have a Lakes and Beaches Committee
Yes,
so
I
we
think
can so we can research that?
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry?
I have a question regarding the bills. The gentleman stated that he hasn't written any checks. So if checks have come in, I mean, if bills have come in, Are those going straight to,
They go to CPM.
okay, so nothing's come in the interim?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, who's taking Tom's place? Did one lawn take over that,
Yeah.
is one lawn taking over everything?
1L is taking.
That's what I meant, one out, they are taking over everything?
Yes.
Okay, so if we want to work on the entryways, because we did a volunteer, we did the Ridgecrest one, who would we talk to if we wanted to like pull out dead bushes, clean it up, all the entryways? Who would we talk to?
There used to be, and I don't know whether it still is, a beautification group. And Barbara, do you still do that?
Theoretically.
I would talk to Barbara.
Okay. Because I was just wondering how much one lawn's going to do compared to what we would do.
Not as much as they used to.
Okay. Will they do snow too removal? Or?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
On that note, wouldn't it be helpful if we knew what their contract entailed so that we could augment with volunteer people to take care of the work that's needed to be done without being charged?
That's a great.
Yes. Get back in touch with me at a later date and we'll talk more about that, but yes.
And I would like to suggest that we ask Tom what kind of jobs are not included on that bid that he used to do anyway. Because we don't know all the things that have to be done out here.
I know Tom did an excellent job and we will not have the same coverage and maintenance that we had under Tom.
Right. So I suggest we ask him for a list and then we find out what's on the contract.
I gave a list.
and try to
I hope it
figure
got
out.
passed on.
I don't think Tom's going anywhere in the near future. So
John's got it.
we'll keep in touch with it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
When everyone else is finished, I would appreciate a refresh, if you'd all go around and tell us your name, what your assignment is, including committees, if you're chair or co-chair. And if you wouldn't mind, like you had mentioned, remembering on the resume. I don't remember resume, so if you could just give a little bit of what your intention to contribute to the board and Raintree would be. Does that make sense? Am I asking too much?
I think so. Anybody else have a question? All right. You then, Dave. Ma'am.
I just have a question. Since the board member quit, why do we have to get more resumes when we had an election that the people voted for? Why don't we go to the next number of votes for that person and just nominate them to take that place?
Because that's the way it is described in our bylaws.
So the next person that gets, it has to be approved by you guys
Yes.
only?
And they only come for a year. Dave.
Yeah, did I hear correctly that I heard somebody to Joe's question, I believe that there wasn't a roads budget, correct?
No, there is a roads budget.
Okay, I thought I heard somebody say there wasn't a roads budget, because I'm curious, because we approved a budget for all the committees.
There is.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Going once.
What, has all the committees turned in a budget so far, like Lakes and Beaches did maintenance, how's maintenance gonna work now, with the budget, because I know that they had a budget, Lakes and Beaches had a budget, roads had a budget. Have you guys turned those in yet and everything? I know when I was on Lakes and Beaches, after I got voted in, I had to present a budget to the president, to the executive board for them. Have you gotten that far yet? You haven't gotten it yet? Okay,
We're working through that.
okay.
Gentleman in the back.
Jim, I'll maybe close this down. I know you from nowhere. I have no idea other than the meeting before that I met you. It's interesting. I am kind of controversial. I know Scott doesn't like me at all. So I know part of the committee doesn't like me. But I do want to say, it's comforting to hear you talk tonight, to run the committee like you did, and to be kind of peaceful, but yet a little bit of humor, recognizing the empty chair. That was fun. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all you guys for volunteering and everything, and I hope it all goes well, okay?
This isn't really a question, but maybe something we should consider is, rather than have people just go and buy copper sulfate and put it in our lakes unregulated, I think we may want to hold off on doing that. Let's not just, because if a bunch of people start, I mean, we'd rather never put another chemical in the lakes at all, but we have to find a balance between clarity and fishy, et cetera. And copper sulfate was meant to be a short-term solution from the get-go. And I would rather people didn't just start, I'm not on lakes and beaches anymore, but
that's fine.
My suggestion would be that we not have people just choose to put copper sulfate in the lake or any other chemical. Let's let the Lakes and Beaches Committee.
I would suggest that you give us a little bit more time to do some research.
Well, but they said you could go buy it and just dump it in. I don't think they want to do that. Please don't do that.
We'll wait on that.
Yeah.
And I do want to thank everybody that's here, and I want to thank the community, because this place is phenomenal and it's working good. And it's a little part of all of us.
Yeah, one more lady here.
So, is there a way that a GoFundMe could get started for the bubble machine if you wanted to do that on your code?
Can you stand up and use one more diagram?
Can we do a GoFundMe maybe on our codes for the bubble machine with all the research that they did? Could a cove do that?
No, we have to be very careful, because if there's one thing that will destroy this community fast and furious is if we become taxable. And there's not a whole lot of money in between where we sit today and that cutoff point. And it's governed by the fact that the community's a POA, we file an 1120H. So there's a there's a minimum amount of revenue that needs to be from the assessment. So if we take in donations that bring us past that level, we become taxable. The tax rate for an 1120H filer is 32%. So it will be a multiple six-figure tax bill if we become taxable. So anybody talking donations, volunteers I'm not talking about planting some flowers, putting mulch in, but if you're gonna build something and volunteers, we have to be extraordinarily careful, because that will wipe out more money faster than anything else here if we become taxable.
So there are things that we still have to look at, and those are part of it. Yes, gentlemen.
Could you elaborate on that? Volunteerism, how does that raise your tax rate?
If you, let's just take the hypothetical was talked about building this bathroom. If you use all volunteers to build this bathroom, you have to declare the fair market value of the work that they did. The government's not going to let our revenue be tax exempt if we're bringing in other outside revenues. And if we get materials donated, the materials have to be declared into our financials.
And especially if they write it off on their taxes, that they donated this, and it has to be covered on the other side, which could trigger ours.
Think of buying a lottery ticket or an auction ticket and then winning something that's worth $400, and you paid $500 for a ticket, but you got $400 back in value. You can't write that $500 off your taxes. The government, well, you can, but it's how risk averse you are.
Yes, we prefer to keep Uncle Sam at arm's length, or better. Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest that whenever a volunteer committee is established, that all of that is researched thoroughly and clarified, because I don't know, how do churches do it? They have tons of volunteers.
$1 million churches.
Absolutely. And they're also non-for-profits. And to your point, John, I looked it up, and we just need to settle this once and for all, because volunteers are the heart and soul of this community. And there's lots of people that want to jump in and help out. And we shouldn't prohibit it. We should just clarify what it is and track it.
But that's what you said.
Gentleman in the back.
Yeah, Kirkpatrick. I did some research, I talked to Indian Lakes, they had the same scenario with the lakes. They do a 501c3, they have no problems with their taxes and getting in free money and putting it into their HOA, POA. So I disagree with what was said.
Okay, I've said this before, and I will say it again. I'm not a lawyer, and I didn't play one on television. So we will have to look at this from the standpoint of somebody who actually deals with taxes from a legal standpoint. Any other questions? Okay, we'll go around and introduce ourselves. Karen, we'll start with you.
Karen Bell.
Mary Lou Watson.
David Stello.
What do you do?
I'm on the roads committee, and I work at the courthouse. I'm a court clerk for one of the judges.
No, we just met.
I'm the secretary and co-finance.
Okay, so I'm on the roads and lakes and beaches.
Jim McClung, I'm on security and maintenance.
Cal Bailey, just the treasurer. I'm on Scott Clark, I'm on Lakes and Entertainment or whatever the other one is.
Maintenance.
Entertainment?
Events.
What is it? Events.
Events.
Events. Somebody's entertainment.
He's also on maintenance.
Yes.
Yes.
John Willett, I'm just helping transition stuff.
Ken Campbell and I'm on ACC.
Who's the secretary?
I am.
Oh, you are.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.